Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first ever webinar on the SAWiT's YouTube channel. We are thrilled to have you join us for this exciting event. I am Mainak, the community manager of SAWiT. It's an honor to host you all today. We are delighted to have a very special guest with us, Priyanka Kamath, the founder of 100 GIGA. Priyanka is a trailblazer in the tech and the finance space, and we couldn't think of a better person to guide us through today's topic. The theme of today's webinar is the evolution of money into digital payments. Priyanka will take us on an insightful journey exploring how money has transformed over time, the rise of digital payment systems, and the revolutionary impact of smart wallets on the financial industry. Before we begin, a quick announcement. The SAWiT.ai hackathon kicks off on the 8th of Feb. If you are if you haven't registered yet, don't wait. Click the link in the bio to sign up and join this exciting challenge. Feel free to share your questions or queries in the chat during the session. Priyanka will address them towards the end. Now, without any further delay, let me bring Priyanka onto the stream. We hope you enjoy this engaging and enlightening session with Priyanka. Thank you for being here, and let's get started.
Delight to start the series in 2025, which paves way for women's economic independence through various mediums, right? And I firstly want to thank the team SAWiT for putting this together. Not only have they been champions for technology, for women, and bridging the gap between the two, but they've also been incredibly kind in collaboration. We've done some stellar initiatives together, from Grace Hopper celebrations to working along on how to bring about the next cohort of 100 girls, which we are really excited to be kickstarting soon around Feb mid. So please do come and write to us if you're interested and what would you like to learn. Of course, it's the year of agentic AI, so you definitely will build some AI agents with us starting Feb mid. So keep stay tuned on SAWiT for those announcements. For today, we have something really interesting. Um, India is on the forefront of technology, and we've always been the tech engine of the world. Considering the youngest nation now is moving on to newer horizons, you cannot stop the youth from taking decentralization into their stride, right? So this is where we come in and we try to democratize decentralization to a point where even a regular person who has no technology background, no coding needed, no programming skills needed, can actually understand the potential behind the digital payments and how this is moving towards a unified infrastructure. So you will be seeing assets, identity, and people on this realm of decentralization. It's already too late. This had been piloted in 2022. So this is why we kind of took time. We wanted to see how the adoption takes over the country and actually then bring it to you. And it had to be through SAWiT and no one else. So shout out again to Team SAWiT. Before we get into the depths of the future, a little bit on today and what you can expect, so you can level set the expectations right. So we are going to take you over to different ways of digital payments, from electronic money to programmable money to India's very own e-rupee, which is the CBDC currency. When we will get into what CBDC is, why do you need a CBDC when our country is so strong in UPI? All of those realms will be touched upon. Before we go there, I just want to give a shout out to the good folks at HDFC. We've been great beneficiaries of HDFC. My first startup, in fact, during the pandemic, I remember how much the team had actually come on board and collided for all the paperwork and made sure everything was smooth. And it is incredible to see that HDFC has also been on this realm of CBDC launch, which is heralded by Reserve Bank of India, of course, but they do work with select banks, with select customers, and see how CBDC can be democratized to each and every person. And you right now, wherever you're watching, whichever select state you are in, if you do have accounts in ICICI, SBI, of course HDFC, you will be able to understand where I'm coming from, and we will spend few minutes on how to set this up on your phone from the comfort of your house. No, you don't need to go to your bank. No, you don't need to schedule 3 hours from your work day and go there, right? So these are the benefits that we'll be exploring soon. Just a little bit about me before we go. So maybe the next slide. Mainak, if you can just go to the next slide. Yes, you'll be like, who is this Priyanka Kamath? She's just like suddenly come out of nowhere and, talking about finance and blockchain and decentralization. So there has been a lot of work that has gone into becoming the founder of 100 GIGA. I really believe that, it's about paving way to financial independence for women, especially the women of this country. We are always rattled with systemic challenges. We have so much of juggling to do. Family always comes first. And how do we ensure that our career ambitions are also taken into consideration is where 100 Giga comes. So it doesn't have to be about fancy technology. It doesn't have to be about oh, today there's blockchain, tomorrow there's quantum computing. AI is always going to be there. It's been there since 1960s. Now we are actually seeing the usage of it come into the hands of our phones, right? So we are trying to get to that level of democratization where you, from the comfort of your home, can absorb this world-class resources. And when I say world-class, yes, I've been fortunate enough to work in America, get awarded in Singapore, along with my girls again, who we've been, striving hard to do cutting edge projects that help the bottom billion. And again, just all of this work, it's been a cumulative, compounded effort that has actually led us to be featured on NASDAQ Marketplace Tower. And it is the dawn of a new era now. We don't see blockchain as a separate technology, AI as a separate technology. Yes, we need to go deep and look into the pros and cons and how we can assess the use cases to our benefit and understand what can solve which problem. Um, but it is about increasing intel with AI and increasing trust with blockchain. That's how we see it's a bifocal lens of solving problems. Ultimately, that's that, right? Technology is about solving problems. It doesn't matter which technology you're using now. But are you able to learn? Are you able to apply the right solutioning for the right problem? So today we're going to explore just that. And like I said, even after all of these accolades and recognition, we are just getting started because there are 23 million girls still dropping out of school. And only tech can actually help us get there to that nook and corner where we're able to save these girls from getting into vicious cycles, right? It is about bringing them to the to bring them on awareness and then give them financial literacy, build the resource platform for them to thrive, and then they get into financial independence. So it is never a linear journey. And today we'll see how much we can demystify this for you. So without any further ado, again, just one last request. All of this is brought to you free of cost, pro bono. So if we could just get a shout out or a follow from you, or even better, if you're able to lift someone up and ask them to come on our next session, we would be really grateful to you for that. So next slide, you would be able to see our logo, and the Twitter handle. LinkedIn is where we are active, Twitter and LinkedIn. It's 100 Girls in Gen AI, 100 in numericals, Girls in Gen AI. And on LinkedIn, it's 100 Giga. Yeah. So please do give us a shout out. We'll go to the next slide. Thanks, Manak. Really being a co-pilot here. I hope the visibility is good. So we are in very interesting time, folks. Right? What you see on the screen right now exactly is digital payments for your Kumbh Mela ticket have actually been designed by an NFT, right? So I know that's too much loaded of a concept right now, but just imagine 1.2 million folks who've gone to Kumbh Mela, which is one of the rarest festivals in India. Their train ticket by Indian Railways has been designed on blockchain. Now, why should this why should this be on blockchain? Why can't it just be a regular ticket, right? Because it's one of the kind. It is not transferable. You need to be working on a population at scale, and there is no scope for faltering out there when you are dealing with such a large scale population. So you need to have unique IDs. You need to be able to trace the origin of the ticket holder, and all of this is made easy because of the digital public infrastructure that India has. As you can see, the Tejas Express that goes, I believe it's from Delhi to Lucknow, and it is technically designed by, uh, Polygon, which is one of it is considered to be the Amazon of Web3, and we are very proud that an Indian is behind this. It's Sandeep Nailwal. He's the son of a farmer. He just inked a deal with one of the largest business conglomerates, Geo, and they are bringing their largest telecom services with millions of users onto this. So you can now expect, say, you probably, there is going to be a Play Store now with decentralized apps where you can actually book a decentralized Uber, where you can book, you can do your recharge of Geo through decentralized apps, through these coins that you are able to explore in this particular session, which is CBDC. And while I was saying, hey, look, there is this incredible train ticket. It's the IRCTC Tejas Express that goes from Delhi to Lucknow. And imagine if this is stored in your DigiLocker, it is always there for you to trace that, hey, look, you have been to this Mahakumbh, which is, once in 144 years. It's eternally there for you as a memorabilia. And it goes beyond that, right? It is for safety checks. It is for understanding who is come from which country, cross borders. You just saw Steve Jobs' wife get there, right? So she, as a tourist, can actually see the prowess of India's technology that has gone so far. If we just keep going forward, right, like, you see why the digital public infrastructure plays such a incredible role in the adoption of digital payments from an India lens. Again, disclaimer, today, whatever we speak is going to be very much focused on India, how we are evolving as a country, how digital payments are going to take over in a way that we can assess the economic potential of every individual out there. So remember how I told about, these 23 million girls dropping out of school. You are able to, if you are able to get them on the financial horizons, you are able to assess the economic potential of each of these girls through this digital public infrastructure, which is so seamlessly integrated in our daily lives. How do you ask? It is through Aadhaar, it is through Nammayatri, it is through ONDC, right? So you've seen this different realms tying together through digital public infrastructure. And when I say Nammayatri, it is an example of Bangalore's own ride hailing service, which is option for Uber, and you are able to ensure that the auto wala gets paid versus some middlemen intermediaries benefiting off somebody else's hard work, right? So how does this happen, and how does this Nammayatri Autowala actually get paid through this digital public infrastructure? That, in fact, I want to credit Nandan Nelkini sir, who has been the architect for India. He is the city of India, and it is his brainchild that is actually seemingly come into such different ways in our lives, right from fast commerce, ONDC, where we are able to bring digital payments to the kirana walas, to Namayatri that brings digital payments to auto walas, to now we are going to explore India's very own e-rupee, which is the CBDC currency. CBDC here is nothing but central bank digital currency, which is spearheaded by RBI in liaison with few select banks in India that are one of the premium banks. They've actually launched a pilot in 2022, and thanks to these different banks that have actually been the service providers, you're able to just at a click of a button load these coins and actually start working with India's own crypto, which is the e-rupee. So please, whenever I use the word crypto, kindly know that we are only and only speaking about e-rupee. We are not pumping any other coins here. And every time, say, in the flow, I might talk about certain coins like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but make sure that you are seeking professional crypto investment advice. Again, I'm nobody as a crypto investor, but I have on my own Ethereum through my work, and I have been, working on the projects of blockchain as a digital ledger standpoint, which is a whole different, way of doing backend engineering. So do not mix this to think as like, I'm a crypto investor or whatnot, but I'm not. I am a blockchain enthusiast trying to democratize this technology to young girls of India who will be using this technology as adults when they grow. And this is probably the only way to digitally transact, 20 years from now. So it is for those young girls, and that's why my venture is called 100 Girls in Generative AI. Again, I'll explain where the AI piece comes in. Even though we are dealing with blockchain, AI is inevitable when you want to scale and tell. So like I was saying, digital public infrastructure has been raved by the likes of Geeta Gopinath, Bill Gates, Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai. So all these luminaries, why are they talking about digital public infrastructure? It's also because it has paved way to India's own rupee, which even a tea seller, imagine a tea seller able to scan a e-rupee, which is actually blockchain backed, and is able to do their daily transaction. And no, they do not have to know that there's blockchain powering it behind. Again, you would be like, oh my god, these are all these new terms: NFT, blockchain, e-rupee, what is going on, right? So we all can actually take UPI as the benchmark and actually start from there. So Mainak, maybe we could just go to the next slide where we are talking about what is a smart wallet, right? So we can just talk about UPI for a minute. So technically, when we talk about UPI, you don't need to install a separate smart wallet. You technically do have a banking service provider, which is tied up, with one of the UPI service providers like PhonePe, and all you need to do is ensure that you are downloading a PhonePe or a Paytm, and you're actually able to ensure that if there is money in your bank account, it reflects on your UPI service. And that's how the bank comes to know, hey, look, yes, this person is authorized to do this transaction and is able to go. But again, if you notice, there is always a bank as an intermediary, right? So there must have been so many times where you must have done transactions, and say you all went as a group of five, went to a restaurant, and you are having dosas, right? And you probably paid the dosa bill, but the hotel has not received it. But it shows on your UPI service that, hey, look, this has already been transacted from your bank, but the hotel has not received, so we are not responsible. Let the hotel check. So these kind of hiccups can be definitely reduced because of smart wallets, which has again been introduced through CBDC, through the Indian banks. So if you are able to go to HDFC e Digital Rupee, app and you are able to download, you will get an authorized wallet where you do not have to, worry about setting up a seed phrase or setting up very complicated ways of doing transactions on blockchain. Because in blockchain, as you know, there are multi-signature wallets which requires a seed phrase, it requires a password, you would need multi-factor authentication as well. So there are so many ways you have to cross these hurdles and then do your transactions. So thanks to the Indian e-rupee system, they prepared the Indian CBDC for a grandma moment, if I can call it, which means that it's made so simple that even your grandfather or grandmother can actually use it in the comfort of their house without going to the bank and again taking instructions and do it. So Mainak, we will just go through the evolution of money, the place where we go from electronic money to programmable money, which is a little further up. Thank you for bearing with us. We've been on this for 30 minutes trying to get the presentation. I really want to applaud Mainak while he does that. So looks like if we can just scroll up all the way to Tejas Express, where we saw the NFT for the Mahakumbh, which was again a part of that is the blockchain community. Again, that is pure blockchain. It has got nothing to do with the CBDCs, but this particular Tejas Express, can be replicated on a Indian blockchain system, which think now if it is integrated with your DigiLocker, it is always going to stay there in your wallet, and you're able to, always showcase, hey, look, you've been through this particular Indian rare festival, which probably will give you more benefits of showcasing how you've done transactions through NFTs, or you would be able to understand how DigiLocker can seamlessly have assessment of where your travel is, and maybe even predict in future that, hey, look, you are a spiritual person, and hey, here's like another ticket for the next upcoming spiritual event, right? So that is the prowess of technology when you adopt it. When we go next towards the evolution of money, right? So let's just buckle up on history a little bit. So back in 1950s, right, there was this American financier called Mark, I believe it's Frank McNamara, that's his last name. You can Google it up. It's a very fascinating story where he technically forgot his wallet on this very important dinner that he was having with business folks. And he, at that moment in that restaurant, actually invented this card which says, hey, look, there will be a delay in payment, but here's my signature. I will come and pay to you. I'm this American financier, right? And within years of this particular event happening, credit cards were all the rage in 1950s back in America. And this was in the city of New York that it was first established. So really kudos to somebody who actually forgot a wallet, but a stroke of genius that he came up through this particular idea of card. But what happens with credit cards, right? Like, firstly, it's high interest, high penalties. You do one small mistake of probably not paying that bill on time, all the points that you've accumulated kind of are at high stakes, and probably they are gone, right? All the credit card points are gone. You sometimes tend to lose the credit cards as well. Again, there is so much of these credit card scams happening these days that you are unable to keep up with those scams, right? You would, at this moment of AI, where you are getting like deep fake calls, you're getting scam calls about, hey, look, we need we've seen like recent videos about one's own family member's voice being duped that, oh, look, the payments are not working, I need your credit card. And that actually sounded like their family member. This was recently in some Eastern country that happened. So in these times, it's really important to be aware of who are the deepfake scammers and how we can actually go about avoiding these kind of transitions. So that was pretty much about the card, the credit card. Then came on to a time where we had phones accessible. I'm not talking about the Blackberries, but there was a whole phase in India around the early 2000s where almost everybody owned like a 500 rupees Geo phone, which evolved into Nokia 700s. I believe it was 7100, the most popular phone out there, and slowly we saw this evolution of smartphone paving way to digital cards, where you could load your card into the phone and actually start tapping to make payments, right? So that also was very prevalent, but again there is a lot of scams there too, right? Like you are unable to know whether if somebody else has accidentally tapped that phone for you and actually the transaction has happened, right? But it definitely did pave the way for making cashless payments the mainstream adoption, right? So that is where we started seeing these kind of cashless payments coming through tap payments. And again, you're able to load the same card that you own into your phones and use it like a physical card. While all of this was great progress, we still saw the need of heavily relying on banks, right? And it was great. Like, all this is great. All the rich are getting richer. But what about the folks that never were included in the banking system, right? That is the majority scene of India right now. So, as you all know, like, we have India 1, India 2, India 3. I feel India 3 is where the heavy population is, which is 140 million. And these are predominantly unbanked folks. So what about these guys, right? If we just take a look back at the history, early 1990s, I believe it was during 1991, everything was from a very government standpoint. Government took decisions about the growth of the country, but they still saw that, hey, look, there needs to be an FDI involvement if we need to grow the GDP, 5x, right? So around 1991, we saw the rise of FDIs coming in. In fact, 1991 to 1996, we saw it grow 5x in terms of adding to the GDP. So that was a great signifier that, hey, look, this is the way to go about. But it also meant that the tedious transactions that happen cross border probably would take like days in settlement. You would need to see, oh my God, what is the exchange rate? Oh, if I am doing a cross border transaction, what country can I trade better with, because if they have these guidelines sorted out for India. So all of these things needed to be taken into consideration. Cross border transaction was a big hurdle due to all these different factors that I just told about: exchange currency rate, settlement times, and just having the wire transfer, their system, the Western country system, to our Indian system just being so diverse. Where do you find the middleman? Because you would need the reserve of Indian currency in Western countries in order to do the transaction, and you would need a certain reserve of Western currencies in India to do the transaction. So all of this was technically such a big hurdle that I believe UPI kind of paved the way for CBDC right there, right? So even before we get to CBDC, UPI, the emergence of UPI, I believe, was happening from 2009. Sorry if I'm getting the dates wrong. Not to remember. And it's 2009, I believe, where we did see the rise of, Aadhaar, and technically that served as a foundation for getting the unbanked into a foundation of ID, which showcased, hey, look, this particular person has the potential of banking, or if they do not, then we are able to service for credit lending and actually bring these unbanked folks onto the rise of banking. Now, since this is South Asian Women in Technology, I have to give a shout out to Mandeshi Mahila Bank. I believe they have like 200 crore turnover, like way back, even before when any of the microfinancing credit lending services were established. So huge shout out to Chetna Gala Sinha ji. She paved the way for these incredible women to actually get access to credit. And these are no normal women. These are folks who are actually breaking stones, who are farming, who are probably construction workers. To get them on the face of the financial horizon is a commendable task in India. It is almost close to impossible, but Chetna ji made this possible. So Mainak will just like scroll down a bit to. I believe there should be a slide which it talks about how we got into digital currency to programmable money. Maybe if you have the link that I sent you as the website, we can go through that. Like the same presentation is sent as a website. If you're able to share the screen and actually showcase that, please. Thank you, folks, for your patience. Like today was a little bit of a logistical, hiccup, but we'll make sure that the next few series that we come up with, we are going to evolve and we are able to, showcase this in a much seamless way. So, like I was saying, just at the start, that while Minac brings up the presentation, we are evolving this as a four-part series to gauge your interest in the exponential tech array. So whether you want to be learning more blockchain, you want to build AI agents with us, or you want to, understand how to detect deepfakes with AI through cybersecurity, we are here for you, and we are trying to gauge your interest after every session to understand where we can get deep dive into. So as you see, every Saturday, so this will be like every so I think the next session is 25th, and then we will, resume Feb 1st and Feb 8th. So basically, what we are doing is every session we will then get feedback from you, see where we need to delve into. Of course, by Feb mid, we would be mostly focusing on AI agents. Again, we'll have a plethora of your industry experts coming in. We will show you how to go from non-tech to deep tech, build on low code, no code to immersive coding if needed. But again, we are living in times where AI agents are taking over coding. So if you think about a job, then you should be thinking about how you are able to manage these AI agents. So think from an engineering manager perspective who is actually dealing with a swarm of AI agents. So that's the kind of mindset you need to bring into your job search. And every single job is going to be a AI first director or a AI first, product manager. So that's the kind of direction you need to go to. Even if you're a fresher, don't think about, oh my god, I'm going to do DSA, I'm going to do lead code, I'm going to do these GitHub challenges and Kaggle hackathons and whatnot. So think, are you able to build an AI agent which is able to save time, reduce cost, bring efficiency? Every single company is only going to look for these three things. And have you built projects, build to a point where they know that, hey, look, this person can actually do a real-time job and doesn't need training again, right? So that is what you need to focus on too. Mainak, so just probably, I don't know, Mainak, can you hear me? Hey. So we were supposed to go from the digital currency, from the digital electronic money to digital money, and I just wanted to showcase some of these workflows that we've been on actually. So, are you able to pull up that website, please? Again, for everyone listening, thank you for your patience. We are trying to figure this out for you, so please stay with us. Hey, Mainak, can you hear me? If we just showcase the flow of the transaction time, how much it takes in every single medium, I guess it's going to give the audience a great way to understand how. So it is in the link that I sent, Mainak, the presentation link, which comes like the website. So maybe you could share your screen. Okay. Um, Hi, Mainak. Are you able to hear me? Okay. For some reason, I do not see his. Um, okay. Let's do this. So like I was saying, the evolution of money, right? So we've seen that diners club credit card happen, then we saw the emergence of smartphone, which paved way for electronic money, which was technically loading your card into the phone and you're able to do these transactions, and then you are able to go into UPI, which is more of like a unified way of payments, which showcases the economic potential of this person, and we all are using it currently. In fact, I was living in the US for a major point in time, and when I came back to the country, I almost came back every year, so that I was in touch with what was happening. I believe it was one coconut seller that actually told me, ma'am, like I don't need cash, and like, please pay through UPI. And this person, poor guy, was in tattered clothes, selling coconut water, and actually telling me that he wants to use digital payments for his product, right? So it just at that point itself, this was back in 2015, I knew that this is the rise of India that we've always wanted and been waiting for. Um, so while I just open up the Mainak, I just saw your message. I am unable to hear you. It's okay. We will continue from where we are. I do remember a lot of the slides. So I'm just going to narrate the flow. So it's easy for the users, not to worry. There we go. Yes, thank you. Thanks, Mainak. You've been a champion today. If you could just show back, yeah, you will have like you'll have Satoshi Nakamoto, his picture. So if you could just scroll up a little bit, scroll up, please. Yeah, if you could just go scroll up a little bit. Yes, yes, yes. That is where we are. So as you saw, yes, we got into UPI. Yes, that particular coconut water seller told us what is needed for a UPI payment. But as the way I see it evolving, the coconut seller is also going to tell us how to use CBDCs for his own payment. We'll get to it in just a moment when we touch upon the digital currency that really that rattled the world, which is Bitcoin, right? We are seeing Bitcoin as a store of value. It kind of checks all the use cases that money has, which is money can be used as an asset. Money is a store of value. It can be used as a form of currency. It can be a unit of account. It is a medium of exchange. Check, 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 check. Right. So all of this is possible through Bitcoin, and it is the brainchild of Satoshi Nakamoto. Of course, it is always about the supply demand that is determinant of the value that it holds, right? So the way it was designed was 21 million bitcoins was what was allowed to be mined, and we're already at 19.8. So this year the bull run is going to determine how much more of adoption takes place, and we are really excited for what is in store for Bitcoin, because we are looking at the global cross-border landscape, and it is already been in adoption by the technocrats of the world, right? Everybody wants to hodl, even if it is like a ETF way, or it's a fractionalized Bitcoin that they can own, they are owning it. So never ever sell your Bitcoin. If you have purchased it in the last cycle during April, you will be able to see more of it spiking up. In fact, we just hit about 105K just yesterday, I believe. So This is all what's in store for Bitcoin. But then again, if you do not know why this is in mainstream use, why this has not been taken up by India, there of course have always been scammers related to any cutting edge technology. It is a double edged sword. So do not just I know it's also not accessible at this point for people to be scamming around, but there's so many DMs in social media that will tell you, hey, look, we are giving out free BTCs, or just like, participate in this particular quiz or whatnot, and we're giving free BTCs. And they look exactly like, these deep fakes look like Michael Saylor. They look like Elon Musk. They look like Kathy, right? So they all are trying to, although they are the champions of Bitcoin, but there are scammers who look like them and try to make these deepfake videos. So do not fall into that trap. Try to get a investment advisor who can do it. But then again, this is only for educational purposes. I'm not here to give you investment advice. It is to showcase like where we've gone from different ways and why Bitcoin, Ethereum are in the context of CBDC. So this particular 2000, so believe it was 2010 when the first Bitcoin was traded for pizza. It's a very hilarious story. You have to look it up. I think for 3 Bitcoins or 4 Bitcoins, a guy bought a slice of pizza. I would never do that. It is just blasphemy. The guy could have literally been top 0.01% of the, of the global rich, but like he bought pizza. So that paved the way for the rise of digital currency. We saw more decentralization frameworks in DeFi coming through Ethereum. Ethereum sort of paved the way for not only building on DeFi, but took that framework and basically showed that, hey, look, you can build smart contracts on top of this, and smart contracts can actually be triggered for different use cases that will help you streamline efficiencies, right? You are able to bring a smart contract in existence to eliminate middlemen for farmers to be going straight from their farmland to D2C. You don't need like a broker or like a middleman in place who is benefiting off the farmer's yield. That's what Ethereum showed. That look, we can take this decentralized technology, but let's take these DLTs, build a smart contract on top of that, trigger actions that can be, leveraged for any use case that you pick up, from agri to finance to healthcare to education. You are able to build a smart contract for that. So I will not go too much deep into these technologies. We will be having a separate session next Saturday just for this. But today it's more about digital payments, the rise of CBDC, and how e-rupee is going to be a game changer for the globe. It's not just for India, but it is going to pave way for cross-border transactions. And I would actually like to see in the chat if you folks can guess who are the top 3 countries which are actually riding on the CBDC wave. Just a hint, India is in the top 3. Can you guess who are the other top 2? So please do write in your chat. While we keep going on the realm of CBDCs, right? The speed of cross-border payments have always been the biggest hurdle. So we were just talking about, how FDI investments were open, and we had to see all of these different ways of lags. There is border settlement, settlement time lag, exchange currency issue. In fact, if you as a freelancer now are sitting in India and say you're getting clients from the US, how are you going to transact with them? Do you need to have a PayPal, or you need to have some intermediary again who's taking your money and actually taking your money and benefiting off? Again, I want to give shout out to Breakdown. Everywhere I have mentioned the source as Breakdown. Shout out to Breakdown YouTube channel for these screenshots that make it really easy for people to understand. It is democratizing knowledge in like no other. So shout out again to the Breakdown channel. It's run by Varun Maya. I'm really a huge fan of the way the guy can zoom in, zoom out. He can go talk to Satya Nadella and he can go talk to a college student. It's just incredible power to have. So while we were coming back to the speed of cross-border payments, we saw that, hey, look, with international wire transfers at the moment, it's currently taking two days, maybe, up to 2 days. And then you see, like, as in more you go with e-wallets, conventional bank transfers, you will see there's different times for different settlement orders, right? So say maybe e-wallet will take 2 to 3 business days. A conventional bank transfer, again, it depends on the different ways you're doing it. Is it IMPS, RTGS? Is like different ways you can do this wire transfer in US also. So that takes about, like, say, 3 to 5 days if you're again finding a middleman, because you need like a money exchange, and they not necessarily will give you the best deal on that particular exchange day. So again, a lot of hassle, right? This is where blockchain enters, this is where CBDC enters, and this is where it plays a big role with DLT technologies, which is the distributed ledger technology, where a digital item which is written on blockchain is able to be seen by any participant out there on the internet, which is what makes it, a redefining watershed moment in the world of trust and building transparencies, where it was riddled by scams and financial delays, right? So as you see, like, before we get into, hey, look, like, Priyanka's CBDC is all good, it sounds all fine, but we are a country of UPI. Why do we need, CBDC? Why do we need like a CBDC currency, e-rupee again? So we touched upon this a little bit earlier, where we told that, hey, look, the whole idea is to go do away with intermediaries, but at the same time we've seen how scammers or bad actors have taken disadvantage of this technology, and there's been so much of misuse. So we do need to have regulatory frameworks in place, and we are so glad that RBI is on the forefront of technology and its advancements and is able to launch CBDC through these banks. Well, while I do understand that, hey, look, there is still banks, we still need that regulation. We've not reached a point where we are able to detect those bad actors and kick them out of the system. But until then, this is the best bet, right? You are able to reduce costs for minting currency, the ink cost, the paper cost, the tracking of your money, right? Like, all of this can be super simplified thanks to e-rupee, because the same notes that you're carrying or the same cash that you're carrying is now in a form of exchangeable currency, which is a digital currency, and you can use it for cross-border transaction, which doesn't need to depend on hey, look, this is a certain exchange rate, or this is a certain time that it will take. It's all immediate and fast, and it's exclusively meant to be for cross-border transaction. Of course, I think the more adoption goes into Prey, we are able to say integrate DigiLocker with CBDCs, right? You are able to assess, say, like, there is a young girl in the village of Agumbe. That's where I'm from. So she's in the village of Agume. She loves making soaps, right? She makes Ayurvedic soaps or like sandalwood soaps, and she's able to make this as a primary source of income through CBDCs, able to sell sandalwood soaps to her customers in US. She doesn't need to worry about the setup of a payment system or like a third party intermediary. You're able to do this through CBDCs directly and just have like a seamless way of transaction. Now, what happens with this is, not only is she, say, like I was saying, if it's integrated with DigiLocker, she would also be able to showcase her investors, probably, like, what her income potential is, or like, has she is she okay to get more investments to expand her business, right? So all of this can be tracked through this kind of digital public infrastructure that is seamlessly built around CBDCs. So just a quick market analysis on like really why this is needed. Apparently there's a global premium charge to send payment across borders, which goes all the way from 4% to 25%. Like that is my hard-earned money. Why should somebody be benefiting of it, right? So why is this up to 25%? It's because if you look at, again, like I was telling, if there is a transaction happening between the Indian bank and US bank, and I am somebody sitting in a village trying to build my sandalwood soap business, and I am trying to sell these, in a bulk scale to the US folks, they need to have like a reserve of Indian currency. In like again, Indian bank needs to have a reserve of US currency. All this network management, all of this operational heftiness makes the fee also hefty, right? So this is where, like, there are so many inefficiencies to tackle with, where you have the cost of driving a business, squeezing margins, especially for small and medium business owners, really, really being the biggest blocker, right? And this is where CBDCs, the e-rupee currency, can be a silver bullet where, hey, look, this particular girl trying to build her soap business in a small village is able to thrive, and she can save money for investments and expanding her business rather than spending it on third party services, banking services. Just to give you more context, it's not just India, but even if we look at the buyer and supplier dynamics, you will see that, if we could just, Mainak, go to the flow, please. If we could just scroll down, you'll see a buyer supplier flow where an invoice for 4,800 will actually be, it's riddled with middlemen, and you are able to see that more of today's global commerce as well needs to have, like, if the buyer is sending a particular invoice to a supplier, the buyer's bank will then take a fraction of it, then the buyer's bank or correspondent is going to take another cut out of that, then the supplier's bank correspondent is going to again take off of that, and then supplier's bank, by the time it goes to the supplier, there is already a very hefty fee generated. Again, all the costs here are shown per the international transaction. Huge shout out to the source breakdown. They've illustrated this beautifully. Again, it's a YouTube channel called Breakdown. Definitely go take a watch. You will find out that, hey, look, more of today's global commerce also needs that change. So perhaps Indian CBDC might be the game changer. And if you remember, I had asked you what are the top three countries. It's all riding towards the east. So it's China, Singapore, India that are actually the top three countries, while 90% of the world's GDP is actually, piloting CBDC. It's these three countries that are actually heralding and taking the next steps. So as you can see, we have solid cases here. We have solid backing up that a typical blockchain transaction is what is going to save the day. Because when you just put across a chart and compare a Bitcoin versus Ripple versus Ethereum versus bank-to-bank transaction, you will see that the speed of Bitcoin probably takes like 78 minutes. Again, and this might change based on the trading volumes, based on the innovation that's happening. These speed and commission facts are going to change. These numbers are going to change. So if you see Ethereum, it's 6 minutes, and probably the commission is like $0.014. But if you take a bank, for example, it takes 3 to 5 days, and it takes like $20 to $25. Um, that could be avoided, right? Like, especially when you think of transaction at scale, these you would never be able to do like UPI level transactions on these coins, because it's it's technically not possible to mint the kind of transaction volume that UPI does. So I still feel UPI is a very strong partner. And the best thing about CBDC is that cross border transactions where we are going to see it playing a major role. But until then, I think UPI is definitely going to rule the hill. One thing where we've noticed all these incredible um, benefits of CBDC, which is the e-rupee for India, we also need to keep in mind that, hey, look, there is no interest on this, right? Like if you have 100 e-rupee, it is going to stay 100 no matter if it's today or if it's 10 years or 50 years down the line. But with your physical currency, if it is in your FDs, right, it definitely will have that interest rate and you could keep gaining on it. So that's one drawback that I would like to highlight, that, hey, look, while it's great for the country to minimize costs on, different fronts of minting or the ink operation, paper operations, reducing costs, reducing, the folks, the workforce, you still have this where the common man is not able to earn interest from it. But it's a great way of, having your cross-border transactions, like I was saying, especially for students who say you're traveling to US and you need to do your masters. You need to have a social security number to even have a bank account, right? So where will you go until all this gets set? So when all the 90% of the GDP is able to adapt to a CBDC, life for these young professionals or students kind of become easy, because you're able to trade in the same value of money. I don't need to wait for different exchange rates to kind of take over. So while we keep scrolling down, we will just come to a place where CBDCs are actually being innovated by industry bodies. So if you could just come, the BIS and IMF, which is the governing bodies at a global scale. IMF, in fact, shout out again to Geeta Gopinath, who is probably the first, not probably, but is the first female director to be working at the International Monetary Fund. Please excuse me, like kind of having these hiccups and throat congestion, but it's been almost an hour. We are going strong. So the digital native version of of CBDC. I mean, technically, it's not traditional notes, but it is current digital money, which is being given because of the rise of cryptocurrency. Because these governments understand that, hey, look, you cannot stop the young people of countries to adopt a technological advancement. So hey, it's better that we come up with safer ways, regulated ways of transaction, which still leverages the beauty of distributed ledgers, but it needs to be under regulatory framework, so we know that no bad actor is leveraging. And like I was saying, these are all government-backed digital alternatives for cryptocurrencies. So when I say e-rupee, it is India's CBDC. I'm sure Singapore has its own. And again, China has its own. So we technically need more regulated and secure digital monetary system, and this is where we are trying to build a sort of financial infrastructure for our country, where everything is seamlessly integrated. Like I was just touching upon it before. Say I just arrived, after years from US to India. I want to take a cab back to my home from airport. I'll just install I'll just install the HDFC's CBDC e-rupee. I know that my Nammayatri would probably accept this because it falls under the digital public infrastructure. And then seamlessly, Nammayatri, the ride-hailing app, will take me to home. And then I can just, say I need refreshments. So from ONDC, I can just order, like, food from, or fruits from my local kirana, right? So all of this is built through the digital public infrastructure system, which just seamlessly integrates my my transactions, my mobility. Everything is interoperable, and that is what is the beauty of this technology. So if we just kind of come to a conclusion about CBDC and the future form of money, you will the future form of money. If we could just go there, um, the current form currently looks like a holy union of central bank issued money, universally accessible money, digital money. But then you are trying to come to a point where there is a retail CBDC that can be used by all of these providers that I was talking about, right? So yes, it checks on the central bank issued money. Yes, it checks the reserves from a wholesale CBDC, and yes, I will be able to trade it like cash. Again, you can't like trade it like crypto, but you can basically use it like a digital tender. So that's the subtle difference there. You cannot trade e-rupee. Please be very careful about this. And you are only using it like a digital tender, which means the value of it stays the same no matter what. um, so if we just come down again, if you all, I know it's like the first session, it's kind of too much to soak in at the moment, but just quick, differences between CBDC and UPI. The finality of settlement is instant on CBDC. For UPI, it takes 1 to 2 business days, although I've really not found that in my cases, but I'm going to do some more deep research on that. And then the nature of CBDC, like I was telling, is a digital tender, but for UPI, it's more likely a payment protocol, right? And for the uptime, it's again like both are 24/7, which is the best thing. I don't need to make sure if my bank is working on certain Saturdays or all that hangama. And liquidity backed by central government is the best way to go about, because you know that your money is secure, you know that you won't be scammed, you know that you will not get shady links in your DM saying, hey, look, we have like free CBDCs for you or free rupees for you. That will not happen because Reserve Bank of India is keeping a watch. Again, UPI is not backed by central government, which technically means that you would need like a third party service provider like PhonePe or Google Pay. I honestly believe that patriotism is increasing and people are more trustworthy towards the government. So they will be backing e-rupee furthermore versus than, like backing up Google Pay or third-party providers like that. When we look at the offline availability also, CBDC is always available. UPI is not. And the anonymity part is probably a little bit of a concern because we would need to be tracking the money transfers, right? So that piece, I'm pretty sure, is going to get more robust. But until then, I'm sure, the banks are taking care of how this needs to be dealt with. So if we just look at the, Mainak, if we could just scroll down a little bit. So we are seeing that this was back in fiscal year 23. Again, this is taken from SBI News documentary. Kudos to them. Very, very, very tech savvy knowledge that has been, again, boiled down to ways where they have shown that, look, the e-rupee will be the digital form of India's currency. The monetary authority will be Reserve Bank of India, and it is treated like a legal tender. If you just want to understand the scale of this, right? Like it's already, I think, fiscal year 23 saw like 16.39 crores in circulation. So we'll just see how much. I probably have to check how much it is for fiscal 24. Maybe I will, write a post about that. But this is definitely going to give the biggest boost to in digital economy, and we will be seeing like 50 years down the line, right? Like this 20 years down the line, this might just be the best way of doing digital transactions. And why this is so well engineered, it's because of the Indian stack that we all rave and crave about. Again, like, I was just telling you the history about the slow emergence of UPI actually came during the 1990s. Despite the FDI growth, only the rich were getting richer. But what about the unbanked, right? That was a major challenge in front of government of India. And it was not just that, but it was also like, how do we guarantee employment to these poor people? How do we take like owners or to open their bank account? How do we even see, like, the rise of UPI? Like, how do we make sure that we are still like up there? Because I think by the time UPI fully got into its glory, we were, I think, we are already doing like trillions of transactions, but we crossed America like 10x times. We're doing more transactions than America. Imagine, we are still developing nation, but we are going to get there. Viksit Bharat 2047. Um, and we all of this is possible because of the digital public infrastructure, which is seamlessly waved into DigiLocker, ONDC Commerce, Namayatri. Again, if you fly, if you've taken domestic flights, you would see Digi Yatra every single place, which is again all seamlessly built into this beautiful technology powering DPI. It's called Beacon Protocol. Beacon Protocol again is a decentralized form of technology which allows for interoperability and decentralization. So technically, what it does is, when you have protocols like Beacon Protocol powering ONDC, Namayatri, there's also the Unified Energy Interface. You are unbundling the digital transactions. You are able to discover, sell, transact, receive goods from anywhere, right? So you are digitally connected. Even as a kirana wala who is selling tender coconuts or like fruits, right? He is also using blockchain, right? That is the beauty of Beacon Protocol. And if we can, Minor, just probably go to the flow, which showcases like one protocol, infinite potential. The audience will be able to understand the gravitas of this. So if you could just come a little down. Yeah, that one. Yes, that's the flow. So you can see that it enables new ways of e-commerce, mobility, healthcare, energy, skilling even, and every other digital transaction that you can imagine is possible because we have this one central form of ID, which is Aadhaar, and it gives you access to credit lending, house loans. Imagine, we are talking about majority of the population being unbanked, and being able to get them on the horizon of even like healthcare and a circular economy. It's a case study at a Harvard level that every emerging economy can actually leverage, and even developed nations are. We are already seeing like France and Japan actually coming and asking about the CBDC, and asking, already fascinated by UPI and seeing how UPI also can be integrated with their transactions. So while we kind of go into the key components of Beacon Protocol, I will just touch upon it a little bit because it kind of forms the basis for the next session, which will fully have on decentralization. So as you can see, Beacon Protocol was aimed to create a unified ecosystem, and all these digital platforms that I just mentioned are able to communicate and transact with each other, which means there is a wealth of information to tap in, and data is, was, and always will be the oil of nations. So how you can enable better services through this um, data-driven, API-driven architecture is how you will analyze how a country can flourish. Just imagine, like, the recent uh, wildfires, right? Like, if there was a protocol that could have showcased, hey, look, there have has been a water shortage in these amounts, or in these particular target demographic, so much of these wildfires could have been saved. But unfortunately, there's been like billions of losses, and we need to have a more unified infrastructure which does surveillance, which is able to take the surveillance data and predict in the long run that, hey, look, maybe 7 days from now we are expecting these wildfires, and in these particular areas there is no water. So how do we bank up our stock and kind of take contingency measures? So while we keep going forward, the key component of beacon protocol is service providers, the consumer applications, and the gateways. So technically, it's businesses that are offering transportation and food delivery that become the service providers. So it could be, so if you take the example of ONDC, like I was saying, this girl selling sandalwood soaps in Karnataka can actually go open her store in ONDC, right? And you can have like a Namayatri guy uploading his services in ONDC again, or say, oh, look, you need like a bulk shipment. I'll come with my transportation goods. So that kind of information arbitrage can be set up there as well. And when you come to consumer applications, you can find out what users actually want, which provides the direction, the North Star for inventory management, making sure that there's no wastage or lag in the supply chain efficiencies, right? So that is how these key components will benefit the regular common man. Again, we're not talking about like emerging economies, governments, IMF level, but this is all for the benefit of a common man. Again, the beauty of this is the entire transaction process that takes place from discovery to fulfillment is all smoothened out and engaged efficiently, so that you are able to build web of your users and see who is benefiting. Is it the small business owners? Is it the folks selling digital commerce tools? Sorry, I'm getting a little lag with my Bluetooth. Yeah, I hope all good. Anak, can you hear me well? Can I get a thumb? So I see the SteamYard interface, so I cannot see the audience. Are they understanding? Is this like too complex? Or we'll take your feedback and try to streamline it for the further sessions. So we're almost in time for our workshop, which is about what is a smart wallet and how CBDCs are going to take over the smart wallet. Okay, which is technically in the app store of your choice. Even if you have an Android or iOS, you will be able to see any of your banks. So if you're from SBI, ICICI, HDFC, you're able to see this in the app store. For me in particular, because we want to give a shout out to HDFC folks, you'd like to emphasize on that and actually take you through that journey. Mainek, I just want to see if we're able to get up a volunteer who could do this for us, because I already have mine set up, and I'm able to load e-rupee in my wallet. Right. Mainek, I can't hear you, so thank you so much, Chandrahas from LinkedIn. Actually, hats off to Indian e-commerce. Yes, Indian infrastructure domain. We would like to get into the depths of it through a workshop. So if you are able to download the app, please go to Google Play Store. Again, it's for select folks in select cities. I've already done this through my phone. So let me see if I can uninstall and install it again. Mainak, for some reason, I'm unable to hear you right from the start of the session. If you
Can
can
you?
come, now I can. Yes, now I can. Yeah. Manik, is there a way we could pull up the participant, or like, would you like to volunteer?
We can take someone from the chat.
Okay, great. In fact, I see one comment here, which is from Chandrahas. Yes, hats off to Indian e-commerce domain. If you want to come and actually display what a smart wallet looks like, the only thing would be that the banks do not allow for a screenshot or the streaming. So, just hearing that, like, hey, you're going to this next level, taking advantage of the smart wallet, because it's about convenience, it's about security and flexibility. So if you are able to manage your digital currencies through your smart wallet, I personally have a HDFC as one of the accounts, so I will be using that and taking you through the journey. We are almost there. I think today we will try to finish it within 1.5 hours. So we will take like 15 minutes to give you a flavor of what a smart wallet looks like. In the next session, we are going to actually show you interactable ways of doing transactions where you're not just having value stored in your smart wallet, but you're also technically able to do transactions to third party ways of say you are minting a skill, you are able to make a replica of even a Kumbh Mela ticket and actually do a digital transaction there, right? So we can show you that in the next session, but let this session be all about India's digital public infrastructure, which we all should be very proud and talk about more, because not everyone seems to be knowing DPI is actually the real hero behind UPI, CBDC, and how it is actually responsible for creating this web of interoperability that we just spoke about. Just the design principles as an engineer, it echoes a successful protocols and innovation in a country like ours. And increasingly, because of this protocol, we are seeing a shift towards decentralized e-commerce, which promotes openness and user empowerment to any economic strata. So it's just beautiful to me that like a chai seller can scan and transact with CBDCs, which is the Indian e-rupee. The guy is using blockchain without even knowing it's on blockchain. But that is when the actual strength of the technology comes, that you don't know there's technology powering it, which is a catch-22 there. So okay, so this is what we're going to do. No problem. So for folks who are listening, you are watching me, like, there are some banking restrictions, so I'm unable to show you this through a guided way. But what we could do is maybe, give you, like in the next session, we can have one of the folks from these banks come and actually speak about it. In fact, I was supposed to be there for this session, but I think there is a Mumbai marathon happening, so they are unable to come. But we really hope that we are able to give you first-hand information through these incredible subject matter expertise from industries, and actually democratize knowledge for you in a way. So we are doing the in-depth webinar on CBDCs soon, but we do need permission from the banks to actually showcase, these things, because we are unable to give you like a screen sharing mechanism due to banking security rules. So this is why we've already talked to folks from HDFC to come on board and actually give us a quick intro about it. Again, I think today we went quite deep into it, right from opening up the Diners Club card, credit cards, to electronic money, to digital payments, to CBDCs, Beacon Protocol powering it all. And then we did touch upon the differences between UPI and CBDC as well. Please, if you still have questions, do reach out to me. So what we're going to quickly do is, if you can go to your Play Store and download. So if you are having a GFC bank account, that's great. SBI also works. ICICI works too. Kotak also has released it. So kudos to all these banks. What you will get is technically a welcome screen where you would need to. I'm going to take you through like a this is going to be more like an audio session now. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's going to look something like that. It's India's digital currency, and it's technically looking like that. Okay, So do not like beware of the logos that you downloaded from. So you will see HDFC Bank logo and the digital e-rupee. Please be very, Manak, are you able to see the logo?
Yes, I can see the logo.
Is it clear and visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the logo, folks. You can go to your Play Store and actually download. What happens is you will then be taken to a welcome screen where you can set your initial password. I was doing this already. So it's all set up for me. But what you will get is like a welcome screen to first set your login password. And then you will get entry to the digital wallet, and the digital wallet will technically be automatically installed because you have like you downloaded this app through HDFC or your service, your bank service provider, SBI, ICICI, Kotak, and you can actually see these different ways of doing services. So you can send e-rupee, you can collect e-rupee, you can load and you can redeem. And you can see that this is already been, certified by Reserve Bank of India. So you'll make sure that the Reserve Bank of India logo is there with you. And technically, everything else is hidden. I've hidden how I manage my wallets. I've hidden the bank. So I think this is safe enough. But you will see a Reserve Bank of India logo, which means you know that this is the right one. And what you need to do now is you will need to load money because you will not have initial ones, right? So when you load it, make sure that there is of course, like minimum balance in your bank, and then say you're loading 100 e-rupee, in which technically is the India CBDC. So don't get confused like what is CBDC, what is e-rupee. It's all the same. E-rupee is India's CBDC. It is RBI defined digital currency. So for us, RBI is the central bank. Of course, like, for countries like Singapore, they'll have their own central bank, they'll have their own CBDC. So do not get confused by that. It's just our CBDC will now be recognized by other countries. So it is easier to do cross-border transactions. So when you load up the digital rupee, it is you will see like a e-rupee, like a logo there which says, hey, look, this is going to be in a digital format. There is one caveat to this where, you will not have like a 3 e-rupee, right? You will have to, or like say, you will not have like a 250 e-rupee. You will have to take 100 and then take a 50, right? So it is similarly to your cash money. It is technically a digital version. So the money, cash, like, the cash that exists is going to technically be there in a digital format. That's one thing you need to be very careful about. And it's not like you will have interest on this. So it will be technically the same value even if you go down the lane 10 years from now. So once you load that and you just say confirm, today is a little bit of logistical hiccup day, so please bear with me. So I have loaded 100 e-rupees in my HDFC wallet, and 100 again because we are 100 girls and I love the number 100. So the final decision on the denomination of e-rupee is to be issued for the above amount. It lies with the bank. So the bank will decide like, hey, look, how the denomination comes, right? Will it be 250s? Will it be 100? That is decided by the bank. And then you basically just swipe to load. It is that easy. Any person who is sitting even in a fruit stall or a tea stall can do this without any external need or external intervention. So I did swipe to download, to swipe to load, and now I do have 100 e-rupee, which is the CBDC in my wallet, which is issued by Reserve Bank of India. So you can all try this with your banks, and we do have 4 minutes left to go. So I just want to, tell you that hopefully in the next session we do have folks from the bank coming in and actually giving you a different flavor of the wallets. In fact, there is something called a Pays app in HDFC, which technically ensures that, hey, look, when you do have transactions that have gone through your UPI services, but and has been deducted from the bank, but the beneficiary has not received it. You can eliminate this through the PayZapp app, and they will show you how. So we will showcase that in probably a few starting minutes. Hopefully, all the timelines work, and we are able to bring this to you. I would also like to throw a little bit more light on the recent Indian spiritual festival of Kumbh Mela, and how Polygon, one of the Indian blockchain companies, actually got this for the ticketing, and how a proof of personhood was established, how this unique ticket is able to trace who has come from which country, and who is able to, basically have a seamless way of transaction. So the brilliant era for Indian innovation, where we are looking at 1.4 crore folks being able to leverage this kind of a technology. I believe it was like they minted it for 1.2 million folks already, and Indian Railways is among the top employers in the country. And somebody like Indian Railways going ahead doing this with Polygon, it is a watershed moment for the Indian blockchain, enthusiasts. Like, we've been waiting for this moment. And just like somebody asked if we can delve into CBDCs a little more, we did that today a lot. But I will see what else can we bring newly that we can showcase in the next session. So, Minak, we do have probably like 1 minute. I mean, we'll try to make it 1.5 hours today, because I think the security will not allow me to share screen and showcase how we do this. So we will probably, I'll write a post about this on SAWiT, and we can give them the instructions on how to do that. I've also given a demo today through my phone, so I hope that was helpful. It's really simple, 3 steps. Go to your Google Play Store if you're an Android user, go to your iOS store if you are an iPhone user, download um, your service provider, or your banking service. Mine, I just had to go and do a digital e-rupee app through the Google Store, and then set up the password. Make sure that there is a fingerprint involved, and I have entry to my wallet, which is set up by my bank, and it is governed by Reserve Bank of India, so that it is complying to the secure and governance rules, and it is able to give me access to the money that I have through a digital format. So now, if I even want to travel internationally, I am able to use my e-rupee and not worry about exchange rates and all that settlement time lag jazz. I can just go seamlessly. So I will stop there and see if we have questions. Minak, are you seeing anything? Maybe we take it up on our channel separately. If you have any announcements related to SAWiT, more than happy to take that.
So we don't have any questions right now. I can't
Got
see
it.
anything.
Got it. Okay. No worries. So great. That means everybody understood everything, which is good news. I'm radically optimist that way. So I hope you could take something new from this session and you could apply this to your daily lives as well. So we will showcase you how you can actually use this information to pave uh, ways for passive income, financial independence, especially the South Asian women who have so much potential, and we are 50% of the population. So having our workforce driven by female will only help the country grow. So if you are able to set up your business, do cross-border transaction with e-rupee, you are able to expand your business that much more. In fact, we are living in times where makhana is becoming the world's most popular snack. We are seeing Ayurveda taking over, and we see a lot of the Western adoption also. So why not we from India actually take it to the West and start earning through cross-border transactions like these, especially when CBDC is acclaimed by 90% of the world's GDP, including G20 countries. So it's our time now to get on the financial horizon and ride this wave of new digital payments. Thank you, Mainak, and thanks to everyone who tuned in today. You could be doing anything on a Saturday evening, but you chose to spend with me and learn something new about digital payments. So there we go. Please tune in next Saturday, 7 p.m. We have some very interesting topics and hopefully a surprise guest as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you next Saturday. Thank
See
you,
you.
Priyanka.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.